back and super excited. One of the best food writers in the country, John T. Edge, from right down the road, is part of True South, which is a show that's going to be on the SEC Networking and ESPN this fall. And they are doing an episode solely on Memphis and wanted to come by because who better to talk to than Tony Allen. John T., thanks for coming by, man.
I love being here, man. Thank you.
So what are the you guys are going to do 4 episodes?
4 episodes.
We'll get you close to the microphone.
Yep.
All right, 4 episodes.
Yeah, we're 4. We're in Beaumont, Texas, New Orleans, Louisiana, Hodgenville, Kentucky, like T9C Kentucky town where Abe Lincoln was born, where you can get really good hamburgers too.
Okay.
In Memphis.
In Memphis. Okay.
Memphis, yeah.
And what's the whole idea behind the show?
Memphis is Saturday night and Sunday morning.
Okay.
Memphis is Saturday night in Orange Mound and Sunday morning at church. Memphis is Pop's Hot Tamales on Saturday night, and Miss Gurley's family, the Leach family that owns Miss Gurley's over in North Memphis, at their church, True Gospel Church of Deliverance in Frazier, on Sunday morning.
How about that?
It's a good mix.
Okay, and so you guys are profiling not only lifestyle but also food.
Yeah, but it really is the flipped way. It's food as a way to get to lifestyle. Food is a way to understand Memphis. Food is a way to get to grit and grind of Memphis. Help people understand what this place is like to live in, and the food's just the way to get to that.
And so you find a guy that obviously coins the phrase all heart, grit, grind, and obviously, he lives here.
Yeah.
He could have moved anywhere, right? He went and played in New Orleans after he left here, and his home is Chicago, and said he buys another monstrous house in no, he's comfortable here in Memphis. And so I guess the idea is why, right?
Yeah.
Well, just the warm welcoming I got, 8 years ago coming into the town, getting along with this guy right here. Just being myself. The city allowed me to be myself. They didn't judge me. They didn't look for me to be some flashy, prolific score type kind of guy. They just accepted me who I was, and I loved it, and I'm still here.
What does it feel like to be a beloved figure in a city like Memphis? Like you're walking down the street, you're rolling down the street in your car. What does it feel like?
Feel like I'm at home. Feel like I'm in Chicago. Feel like I never went anywhere. Feel like I just moved down the street or something because, like I say, the warm welcoming. Even when I go to restaurants, sometimes get comp bills. It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's what it feels like.
It's a lot of love.
It feels like free.
It feels like
it's a lot of love, and like I say, I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
I don't think, honestly, John, that there's a lot of cities in the country that Tony Allen will be a huge star.
No, I wouldn't.
Seriously.
Right.
And he was here.
And why is that possible here?
Because of the way he played and because he wears his heart on his sleeve, right? Mm-hmm. So there is a value in authenticity in Memphis that I do not think necessarily exists everywhere around the country. And so when you find somebody that is authentic and you find somebody that win or lose, you're not always going to come out on the right end, but they are laying their heart on the line and they're giving it everything they've got all the time, that's who the fans here will – there's a magnetism to that is unlike other places. There's some places where they will be drawn to the guy that scores 30. Here, they are always drawn to the guy that, will dive in the stands.
And I pretty much took that and I was myself, man. Here we are today talking about the grit and grind, and it's still a movement.
I thought about that and about grit and the way that implies like hard work and the way Memphis appreciates that. We were in a parking lot right on Airways, and I pulled up and I could see something was wrong, and a guy was in a car and he was slumped over like this. And we came around to the side and one of the crew members said, "We need to call the cops. Something's wrong with this guy." The cops come back and report to us. They said he'd been working too hard. He fell out at the wheel. Like he'd been sitting there idling, waiting for somebody. He literally slumped at the wheel. And that made me think about the pluck and grit and grind of a city like Memphis. Like somebody worked that damn hard that they fell out at the wheel.
And it's not one of the cities that just pop out on the map and you just ready to go there. So, the people that's in the city, they grinding, they working hard to make a living, whatever the case may be. And we come on the court and we showing them that 110% effort. It's a culture that we all embrace. So
And now with the slogan, like you're selling that. You're selling Memphis that way. And that seems to me very much like Memphis too. I mean, you're taking the toughness of this place and what you have to endure in this place, and you're turning it back around and saying this makes us stronger.
Well, because you couldn't do Lob City here.
None whatsoever.
It wouldn't work. You know what I mean? If you're wearing Memphis on your chest, like that team, and why everybody fell in love with that Grizzlies team, and Tony Allen and Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol and Mike Conley and that core four, is because you felt like they were actually representing the city.
Right.
Didn't get the credit they deserved.
Starting out.
Cast it off.
Starting out,
right?
yeah.
So Mike Conley is a guy that never makes all-star teams, was drafted 4th overall, and in what people said was a 3-player draft. Tony Allen is part of a Boston team, but they're able to sign him for a 3-year, $9 million contract,
right.
And so they're letting him walk. Zach Randolph had all manner of problems prior to coming to Memphis and getting it all fixed. Marc Gasol is the overweight little brother, right? And so it's all of these, it's almost like the island of misfit toys.
Bad news bears.
And all of them have this mega reason to have a chip on their shoulder.
Exactly.
Right? And Memphis has a chip on its shoulder.
Yep.
And so if you put Memphis on the chest and they are emblematic of that, it's like they'll be legends forever around here. Right?
That's beautiful.
And within that process, I admired looking at those guys' work ethic. So when I say grit and grind, I'm speaking for my brothers too, because I know just as much work as I'm putting in, they putting in as well. And just seeing that movement, and when we win games, and just seeing how the fans react to us, it all makes sense.
And it continues. Like grit grind wasn't a moment; it's a continuing movement.
Exactly. And I don't see too much flashiness coming out of that form. It's all coming to this hardwood and knowing that you finna have a dog fight. Like, I don't know if I should say dog fight, but
no,
but you know what I mean. So
not.
And it's like man, you coming to a battle to where these guys are not going to be a walkover, and our work ethic and the way we put it in.
You want people around to say that's a Grizzly type player,
exactly,
and that be real. You know what I mean? And listen, with guys like Tony around, he'll tell you. So they drafted the number 4 pick overall last year, Jaren Jackson Jr., right? Outstanding young kid. I mean, Tony's around. Tony meets the kid and immediately goes up and tries to intimidate him.
From the jump. But I want
you know what I mean? Like,
no.
Just to make
I was
sure.
just trying to see,
help him.
Trying to see is he fit for this grit and grind move.
Yeah.
You ready for this? He tell me, yeah, I'm ready for this. All right, my man. Okay, I get you. So it's one of those things where just a little initiation.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that Tony still cares.
I care, right?
That the people that get drafted, they're not pushovers, that they're going to represent, this. He doesn't want to watch it. He doesn't want to watch it go by the wayside.
Right.
And so when you have somebody that is still present and around, from that, and I think young players come here and they see Tony's a hero, Zebo's a hero, Mark's a hero, Mike's a hero. It's like, all right, well, that's what this city, that's how you become beloved.
Well, then you got to reinvest in that ethic. If that ethic is going to be carried forward, you got to reinvest in it. And you stepping up to intimidate that guy is a reinvestment in the future of this place.
Yep.
Future of the team.
And I watched him play this year. He's definitely fitting that DNA of grit and grind.
If I'm driving around Memphis, where do I see the grit and the grind of this place alive other than in the FedEx Forum? Where do you see it?
Well, I see it all over. I be all over the place, man. I mean, I go Popular. I'm over there. I'm seeing just all the workers come from behind, the cooking. ATA, man. You keep him hope alive, man. I'm motivated, man. Much love. Appreciate everything you did, everything you do. Which also lets me know how hard I work and how much I put it into making. Like getting up with Chris Vernon and him politicking me to start playing. Well, I know just as much as he was politicking me to play, I had to been putting just as much work in behind the scenes. So that product, when it get out on the court, is for everybody. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to just be a contagious effect. You see me diving for loose balls. Hey, that goes for the star player too. You know what I mean? And that's all part of the movement. GNG.
And that takes I don't know, that inspires the person working behind the line in a fast food joint. That inspires the person
everybody
working
around
behind
the
the line
city.
everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody around the city. You see what I'm saying? Everybody. It's a movement. It's a way of life. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm telling you.
No, I believe you. I mean, I see it. I mean, driving Memphis, you
Yes.
see it. And you feel it, too, talking to people.
Well, you're not going to get by, you know, going back to the authenticity thing, you're not going to make it all that long, and you're certainly not going to be successful if you're not authentic and you don't work hard.
When you use the word authentic, what do you mean by that?
I mean, not being fake.
Yeah.
You can't put up a front. You are who you are. You say what you really think about things. And so people see through it, right? There is a genuineness that I do think is real when it comes to Memphis, obviously with the charitability. And you've got so many of these things around town, whether it's Le Bonheur or St. Jude or so many of the charitable works. And you also have a culture of work, right? I mean, there's FedEx executives that literally were loading boxes into the plane. That's not true of all manner of different places, and especially like that's the corporation that's here. So a guy that was working overnight while he was in school that is loading boxes into a plane might very well be an executive at one of the biggest companies in America. And so it like kind of all filters down, whether it is having a good heart or whether it is being authentic or it is that hard work. You have all of these things that it's almost impossible to deny it. It's just everywhere, right? If it's the big companies and it's the basketball team and it's the, you know, the children's hospitals and all of these different places, you know, you getting by trying to be something you're not or, you know, not working hard, it stands out more here and you will be dismissed.
I thought about that. I spent yesterday with Inkia Leach Hilliard, and she runs Miss Gurley's, and she got there at 4, and she was there till 4:30 in the afternoon. And by 4:30 in the afternoon, she's putting together plates, discount plates for people who can't afford to buy a full-scale plate at $5 a pop. And she was full of joy at the beginning of the day. She was full of joy at the end of the day, and she worked her rear off all day.
Yeah. And that's a Southern thing. That is. I did not grow up in the South. My family was all from the South, and so I visited many times. And I don't want to say it doesn't go on everywhere, but it is a Southern thing that generally people are happy. Generally, people
working through the pain to get happy.
Yeah, maybe so. But they are welcoming and they care about each other more. I really believe that. I honestly believe that people in the South.
Eyes. I know you believe it. Yeah.
That's part of the grind as well.
Yeah.
Like working through the pain, getting over it, knowing that the pain is temporary. But the goal in me getting there and the efforts I got to take in getting there, we gonna get it.
But
and
there is a caring for other individuals. You know, even when I visit other cities, you know, if you're walking down a hallway or you're walking into a business, people generally make eye contact and smile or you know, say hello or speak or whatever.
Right.
And that's just not true. Usually you go to other cities and you look at somebody and they're like, what? What's your problem?
And I think you're right, but I think we got to be careful not to ascribe that to the South because the South's a big-ass place with many cities, and like something different happens in Memphis.
Yep.
Because I see both that friendliness, that like you look me in the eye on the street, but I also see a resilience here that I don't see in other cities because this city's been through more.
Well, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, right? That's passed down. You know what I'm saying? And there are constant reminders of what the city has been through. We are less than a mile away from the National Civil Rights Museum, right? And so there are constant reminders of the history. I mean, look, this FedEx Forum sits next to a street that people didn't go to on Beale Street, and now it is filled with businesses, and on Friday and Saturday night, people are up and down it having fun or whatever. And there's still challenges. There's still crime. There's still poverty. Right? Like it's not all easy, right? But it's kind of all comes together to give it this immense character.
Yeah, and this place becomes like a living history museum, not just for the South, but the whole of the nation.
Yes.
Like all the big scale problems of our country have played out here, and all the big scale cultural products have come out of here, come out of the Mississippi Delta and come out of Memphis.
Yep. Music.
Yeah.
Right? And so adding sports into that. And these people love the Memphis Tigers and they love the Memphis Grizzlies, right?
Yeah.
And there's something more prideful about those teams wearing those jerseys on when they get on that national stage,
right?
Which this team, Tony's team was able to do, the biggest of all the stages the Grizzlies have been on. There was just an immense amount of pride that comes from that I don't think, I know, is not replicated in bigger markets. It's just not. It doesn't matter as much to them. It matters to people here.
Well, there's an intimacy to the way you describe your life in Memphis, where you're encountering people who are your fans, and you're not at arm's length from them. You're pulling them in.
Yeah, pulling them in. Like, so a lot of people just be surprised to see me. A lot of times, like I get people saying, "Man, you look just like Tony Allen." So I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm Tony Allen." And from that point on, it's like, "Oh man, what are you doing here, pumping your own gas?" And you'd be surprised to see me do these things, but I'm the person I want to talk to them. I want to say, "Hey, how you doing?" I want to let them know that I ain't this NBA player that needs security, and I'm giving them that real me, and that's why a lot of people around the city embrace me.
He could walk. He could walk 10 blocks in New York, and maybe nobody would stop him. Yeah. You couldn't make it. You could not make it. I'm not kidding. From here to the Westin with Tony, you couldn't make it.
I'm gonna take about however many pictures. I got the time. I ain't playing.
What do you get out of those exchanges? When somebody sees you on the street and wants to talk to you, wants to tell you their favorite play, their favorite moment, what do you get out of that?
I can only look back at the work ethic, the hard work. Me and my boy Chris Vernon. Like, I used to be on his show every day, just hoping I could get in the game. He politicking me getting in the game, what have you. But with that same work ethic and that mindset that I had then, when I hear it, that's just the carryover. I want to hear that. I want to talk to them and interact. You know what I mean? Because they a part of this. It's for us. I did this for us. I ain't do this just for me. I made it. When Chris Wallace signed me, he made one signing that year. It was Tony Allen. So right, it was more so in me to try to make it seem like Chris Wallace didn't make a bad decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I got here, I didn't play that much. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna give my time at some point. But it ain't what I'm doing in front of everybody, it's what I'm doing behind closed doors. And that's really the true meaning, the grind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's easy for you to come to the job and just look at me working, right? Yeah, I'm working. But later on at night, when I come back, get them extra shots in, get that extra a 5-mile bike ride in, or that pool run, or that whatever the case may be, that's the work ethic.
And that does get lost in history because as I was bitching about him not being in the games,
right?
He was not playing, and then when we went through 3 different coaches that tried to replace him. 3 different coaches tried to replace him, and it was you just kept making it undeniable. I can't not play this guy. I can't not have him on the court. So it wasn't. It wasn't.
He was grinding. We both was grinding.
But it was not easy even playing for the Grizzlies. Right. I mean, there would be nights where he's playing 10 minutes, and there'd be nights. I mean, I used to recite what the stats were when he played 25 or more minutes constantly, and it was like. Every day they would try to sign people to play shooting guard, and then they'd sign people to play small forward, and they would, you know what I mean? Coaches would be like, well, we got to move on from this, and he just kept on every time you put him in the game, making it undeniable. You can't take me out. You can't.
He's a good advance man.
It's true. That happened. You know what I mean?
But it was fun. Like I said, it was fun. I did it for the people every time. Every time I was in that gym, every time I did an interview. Even sometimes the Grizz probably want me to go here. I would want to go in the, in the urban cities where, people want to see me where they probably would never get to see me. I want to make an impact, go to the jail cells, pass out turkeys in some of the worst neighborhoods. I want those people to feel me too. Like I'm a real person. I come from those areas.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of things that I did, they kind of say I'm a Memphian.
John, he did that. And we have not talked about this on the air, but it's one of the most proud times ever as a friend. The NBA sanctions all these NBA Cares stuff, and a lot of times guys will do it for the photo op, and the NBA wants you to do it for the photo op, and you go to it and they take the picture and whatever else. Tony was not on a team this past fall and winter. He was not affiliated with the Grizzlies at all. I could not get him on the show just because he wasn't ready to do stuff like that. He had never been back in the arena. And he was there, as he's talking about, in a bad neighborhood, with his wife giving away turkeys. It's not sanctioned by anybody.
No.
It's not sanctioned by the NBA. It wasn't sanctioned. Nobody put that together except for him.
What neighborhood did you go to?
Man, I don't know. We be everywhere. Don't get me to thinking back. But I think it was not too far, right down the street. Like not
It
too
was.
far. It wasn't too far.
Why? Why'd you do that?
I don't know. It was one of those moments where, I felt I'm in the city. I need to do something with God's work, and I felt that was God's work, man. It was from the heart. The slogan is all heart, grit and grind.
Yeah.
If you look at how Vernon ran it back, all heart, that's from the heart. So I couldn't think of nothing else. If it was something else, my heart would have spoke on. You know what I mean? So I took advantage of it, and that's the area my PR people got up with, and we made it work.
We've been spending a lot of time in Orange Mound, which is where Pop's Hot Tamales is, and to think about that place, how it began in 1890s, on the grounds of a former plantation, to watch and learn the stories of people first building shotgun shacks there, black families buying land and building their own houses. Like that area for me seems like the epicenter of grit and grind. It feels like the epicenter.
And making the way, just making the way, finding the way. Find a way. You gotta find a way in everything. Everything ain't just given to you. Ain't nothing handed to you. And as far as this basketball game go, nothing was given to me. I played behind a whole bunch of all-stars, always been overshadowed. I thought coming here, was that moment of me going to get it and making a name for myself, getting my career off the ground. Not saying it was on the ground because we just left the finals,
Right.
whatever. But I just wanted to make a name for myself, and I thank the Grizzlies for giving me that platform and making my motto a movement.
Well, and John, when you're talking about Orange Mound and that being the epicenter, you guys came in here later. At the beginning of this show, it was all a goof, but I asked him, he had taken his shirt off because he was so hot.
I changed shirts.
And I said, you got a tough dude with no tattoos. And he'll show you on his arm, there is a T.
Oh, you finna tell him I'm a wimp?
No, I'm not going to tell him you're a wimp.
I can see it's a ghost T. Yeah.
I couldn't finish it.
Okay, look. And he tells this story. He grew up south side of Chicago. That happened. He is 11 years old. A dude that lives next door to his grandma does tattoos in his basement. And he couldn't take the pain, and that's why there's part of a tattoo. And I only say that to tell you that's what happens with those kids in Orange Mound. There's a kid today.
For sure.
So Tony Allen is the guy that can say, I don't know that world. If I would have gone home with half of a tattoo, at 11 years old, that I'd gone into some adult's basement, but that's just, it's rough, man, rough. Yeah. And so there's no thing that he can't speak to. What that environment those kids live in, maybe mom or dad's not home when they get home from school. Maybe nobody cares if you go to school. Maybe the streets are trying to take you in. Maybe the gangbangers are trying to recruit you, whatever else. That's him.
All that's going on in that type of environment. But, it take a guy like myself to probably, be that voice. Go over there, pass out some turkey, say what's up, and let them know you possibly can be in the NBA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the feel I was trying to give around the city. I ain't want to be above or beyond, or have no securities around me or no. I just had to give them the real me. You know what I mean? And if you don't like it, you ain't gotta like it, but you gonna respect it. And that's what Memphis is. They fight and earn their respect. So
it's almost like what both of y'all are talking about is Memphis had these qualities, but you framed it with your words and with your example on the court. You framed something that was already here and gave it back to Memphis and said, look at yourself in the mirror. This is who you are.
We got something to ride with. They've been counting us out for the 10 years straight. I use that as motivation, speaking on the basketball standpoint. I didn't know that they hadn't won a playoff game in so many years or what have you. And that was just one of my goals. And then that went from, defensive player of the year goals and just trying to just do it the most within grinding and doing it the right way. And that's all I wanted to do was just do it the right way, just play the right way. And whatever come with that, that's what it is.
I don't want to get the name wrong, Tony, with the Tony Allen karaoke night that we did, but it was no.
Oh yeah, I gotta get back up with them people.
Every
man.
year we did Tony Allen karaoke night with Jiff, which was and I want to make sure I get it right. The juvenile intervention and faith-based follow-up, and you know they would take kids, and these kids would get up and they would tell their stories, and they would say, you know, I got caught up, you know, doing some bad stuff, and I was running away, and the guy shot, and it grazed my ear or whatever, and my life flashed before my. I mean, and you would listen to these stories from these kids that had gone into this juvenile intervention program, and you would just sit there going, I can't believe that this is how they're living. I mean, these are young kids, and every year Tony would get up there and he would tell his story, and when he would get up there and tell his story, I think everybody that was Grizzly fans that would show up to this event would be like, oh my God. Like the fact that he's here and made it out and everything in the environment that he was in. And he was that kid. The kid that's in the juvenile intervention right now, that's Tony. And so he could look at those kids.
It's powerful.
And there's tons of them. The program's huge. You know
what
I mean?
And I used to enjoy going to that program because I could, like, when they talking to me, I can tell which one of them who, like, yeah, they just winging it through the program. I can tell which ones that's they about to make a change. You know what I'm saying? So I talk to them as if I'm one of them. Man, hey, man, what you in here for? Man, what you doing? Like, you know, I give them that real urban talk, like how they used to talking. And so you could tell. And then I just give them my little gift the gab of what I know and what they should do and what they could be doing. And just never give up hope. And I really miss that program. I'm glad you brought that up.
There's not a lot of adults, certainly highly successful adults, that can do that. No. That can go to a kid and they can say, that was me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mostly they bring in highly successful people that did not have the same life experiences as these kids.
And kids look right through you. They know if you're trying to pull something over on them.
Exactly. And then when I talk to them, I'm hands-on. I go to those speaking arrangements, and I want to give them the real me. I want their undivided attention. I want to talk their lingo. I want to get them to understand everything that they need to understand, because it might not hit everybody. That's my goal. I ain't trying to touch everybody, because it ain't gonna be possible. But if I can get one of them guys out of there to just make a change, I did something.
So where did this idea, this kind of sense of responsibility you have, where'd that come from?
It's just looking at the challenges I overcame, like just growing up early, like just
growing up too early?
Growing up, jumping off the porch a little too early, like just seeing a lot, seeing just, crackheads in my neighborhood, drug dealing, shootings, and having the opportunity to actually see it and live it is kind of amazing to myself that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of my friends fell victim to a lot of that, and I overcame it. And I don't know, just if I can just protect the youth and just give them my knowledge, I think it's a part of growth.
I think, and you and Zach used to go and do like these. They would do like they would take them Christmas, like on a shopping spree or whatever.
Yeah, around that time, like
and
Christmas time.
Kids that weren't gonna have a big Christmas, whatever. Well, guess what? Tony Allen didn't have a big Christmas.
No,
and guess what?
Right.
Like Tony Allen did jump off the porch and have to deal with the crackhead walking down the street and somebody that he knows, like maybe even somebody he loves, maybe somebody in his family getting shot, and so he when you talk about that responsibility, I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, I've heard him say before, he looks at those kids and he sees himself.
Period.
Right?
Period. Like, I was the same kid. A lot of times, my mother was working. She working a job and going to school, so she never at home. My father in and out, what have you. But it didn't stop me from trying to see the world and see my options. You see what I'm saying? So I had to go through that. I had to see it. It made me a wiser man going forward. And like I say, when I see those kids, I could relate. I could actually tell them what they could be doing and what they shouldn't be doing, like I said. So
it's almost like you jumped off the porch too early, but you got wise early too, and that's the payoff for jumping off the porch too early.
Yeah, and I think my little sister jumped off the porch a little earlier than me. She thought she was my mom at the time, because all the time while I was going through, like why I had a chance to see all that stuff, my sister was telling me, get your butt back in the house. It's past your bedtime, and things of that nature. And I got to credit her, too, because she was a little part of the reason in me getting back and thinking things through. Like, you know, you hanging around this friend and this. So it's guilty by association. You know what I mean? And my sister pretty much would inform my mother what I was doing, and I'll pay for it later. So while I was doing all that little bad stuff and growing through it, I was getting punished for it as well. So.
But it's very uncommon. I mean, you have, and obviously this is the sad part of things, you have all too many kids in the city that are growing up like Tony.
Right.
Period. A lot
Right?
of,
And so it is more important here than it is in other places because there's more kids that are in single-parent homes. There's more whose parents cannot be around because they're working, or there are more kids that are growing up in poverty, or are more kids that are getting involved in street gangs at an early age than there are in a lot of other big cities. And so to have somebody like him, you know, that people can look to and relate to, it's very, very rare.
I saw that Sunday morning we were at the Leach family's church, and you saw the prayer line leading up to the pulpit, and there was I only saw one little boy go up there, but the attention paid to that little boy told you the fear people had for what might befall him, and the love they had for him, and the want they had for him to be safe. And you could feel it in the church. And it scared me because I thought about my own son. I thought about, you know, what his future might be, and all those people are rooting for him, all those people are working for him. But there was a realization in that moment, at least for me, that little boy could have been you at that age. That little boy could have been the kids you're talking about now.
yeah, I agree.
You got shot at probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about dodging real bullets, John. You know what I mean? Like running away from, you know what I mean? Not because maybe you were
You dodged real bullets?
Yeah, real bullets. But I mean, like I was looking for guidance at the time. You know what I mean? So at that time, I was like, I could, like when I see youngins now, I could see what they missing. They just looking for somebody to just regroup them. And if I could take advantage of that, that's what I do. So. Yeah.
I mean, and I don't want to get too metaphorical, but that kind of comes back to Memphis. Like, you know, what you did was set an example. And what you did was also give people a slogan, and you gave them a way to think. And that's a way to redirect a city.
Yeah.
Well, and there's just a greiter connection with a sports team than you were
Always.
typically going to
Right.
find.
And sports bring people together a lot,
Yes.
too.
Yeah,
So,
sports and food,
I think that's right.
which is the only reason I'm sitting here right now.
That's right. Sports and food.
sports and food, yo.
That's right. So where do we need? Well, now we got to pick your brain,
Yeah.
Mr. Highly
Mr.
acclaimed
Food Boy,
food
yeah.
writer. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Where we need to go eat.
Have you been to-
You've probably been to more places in Memphis than we have because of doing this.
Yeah.
I have never been to Pop's Tamales.
You hadn't?
Nope.
He's pretty strong.
Yep.
So his name's Lee Crum. He grew up in Holly Springs, Mississippi, picking cotton as a boy. So
Wow.
like his youth was rough.
Yep.
And
Pop
I just
tamales.
interviewed him, and he talked explicitly about that, about wanting.
You heard.
And where else did you go that's on the show?
Miss Gurley's.
Miss Gurley's.
In North Memphis, you know that?
Okay.
Have you been there?
I'm aware of it. I have not been.
Oh man.
I got to go.
I can't remember which day is dressing, but the dressing day is the day to go.
Okay.
Fried chicken day is the day to go. Friday you get fish and grits, fried fish, fried catfish, and Friday you get fried catfish and spaghetti. Not grits.
This is what we need to do. We need to get over there to Miss Gurley's, Tony.
Yeah, I got that
This
down on
sounds
the to-do
home,
list.
home style food.
To do, man.
To do. He's writing it down.
Man, let's
Pops
get it.
is strong. Like he talks about wanting to get out of Mississippi so bad, and he found freedom in Memphis. As a boy at 15, he started running a tamale cart on the streets in Memphis. He went away, went to Chicago, moved up to Aurora, Illinois, and then came back recently and reopened the tamale cart that he started when he was 15.
Wow.
The tamales are great, but even more than tamales, it's him. And you can see that he knows grit and he knows grind. Like he knows that, he's lived that, and he's joyous. And he's proud of what he does, and he makes a really good tamale.
Okay, you got me ready to go right
Yeah.
now.
I know.
I mean, here's where I failed. Like, I was supposed to walk in this door with tamales, but I failed you.
Why did you guys?
That would have been clutch.
Why did you guys choose these two places? Obviously, there's a million places that
There
great
are,
food
there
in
are,
Memphis.
but because of the people as much as the
People.
food, right? So the food's got to be really good, and the food at both these places is really good. But the stories of these families are really strong. So in the case of the Leach family at Miss Gurley's, so Jimmy Leach, the mother, raised the money to build the son Aaron Leach's church by baking cakes, by baking pound cakes.
Wow.
Baxter Leach, the father, was a sanitation worker in the 1960s.
Oh, wow.
Baxter Leach was a striking sanitation worker when King came here. Baxter Leach walked the streets with King. So that story of the mother building the church with her pound cakes and the father being such a strong and important part of the
I'm getting
sanitation
chills,
worker
man.
strike.
That's real
Yeah.
grind.
Man.
You know what I mean?
is.
A mom baking enough pound cakes to build a church. You know how many pound cakes you got to sell to build a church?
And they got to be good.
You know they're going to be good.
She was selling them, her son Aaron was selling them for 50 cents a slice.
Holy
And
mackerel.
slice upon slice upon slice builds the foundation of a church.
That's outrageous.
It's up.
Yeah,
And home style food now, Miss Gurley.
really good.
That's where we
Like unimpeachably good food.
I'm looking at their menu.
Rosie, you all right?
Yeah, man, it's
You
pretty
woke
fire.
up. You never did?
Man, it's pretty fire.
You know where the Van Rose are 130?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know where
man.
you going, brother.
Man, I'm looking at these sides too.
Uh-huh.
Man, I mean, look, they got greens and they got okra. So you got greens and okra, and I'm there.
I just want
I'm
to know
there.
about the day they doing the fried fish and spaghetti. I
That's
think
Friday.
I'll be there.
That's
What's
Friday.
fried fish and spaghetti day?
Friday.
It's Friday.
He said Friday.
It's always Friday.
That's what
Yeah.
we need to do.
Friday on its own.
We
It's
need to go
strong.
Friday.
I mean, I travel a lot to eat. I mean, it's kind of what I do.
Yep.
And, out of hundreds of places we could have set this TV show, we chose to set it in Memphis. We chose to set it in Memphis because the food at both those places are good, because the stories are rich and profound and represent the things you're talking about. Like, represent the way you tell the story of Memphis. That's it.
It's all from the muscle. All
Yeah.
from the muscle. All heart, grit and grind.
And this is one of my favorite things about I love that she has this on the menu because it's one of my favorite things about the South is that vegetables, spaghetti and macaroni and cheese are vegetables in the South.
Yeah.
I love
I
that.
love that.
And dressing's
Love
a
that.
vegetable,
And
too.
dressing, yeah, it's a vegetable here.
I had an all-vegetable plate. I had macaroni and cheese, dressing, and spaghetti.
All right, highly
a
acclaimed.
vegetable plate.
Highly acclaimed food writer John T. Edge. We have to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Your favorite restaurant in the country.
Ooh. That's
Man,
a tough one.
that's hard.
Because I got one for you.
'Cause we'll
Once
travel.
you tell me yours, I'm going to tell you mine.
Don't tell him, Bruce Chris.
I'm not. I've been got rid of Lou Chris like 4 years ago.
Hey, if you ever want to find Tony, head over there.
No, I'm not there no more. You're gonna not find me. You're gonna be at Capitol Grill.
Oh!
But finish though. Finish.
Oh, man. I get in trouble saying that. I get in a lot
All
of
right, how
trouble.
about this? Give us three.
Three. Yeah, that's a yeah. give me all of that.
Three.
All right. So,
And is there anything that we could drive to or get to quickly?
let's
No,
do
not-
let's do 3 in Memphis. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean,
or
because
Memphis or the South? How about
Memphis
that?
or the South.
And
All
give
right.
me, how about 3 in Memphis and 3 in the South? How about that?
okay.
Okay.
In Memphis, Las Tortugas Deli Mexicana.
Oh my God.
You ever been?
That's my guy John's.
Jonathan Magaletas.
Yes.
You ever been?
That's
really, really good.
Germantown Parkway.
what's it called again?
Las Tortugas means a turtle.
Yeah.
Las Tortugas Deli Mexicana. I'm trying to sound like I speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. It's really, really
Oh,
good.
Jonathan's gonna go ballistic.
Yeah,
I
it
can't wait to
says-
tell him that
it
you
says-
said this
so
on the
good.
show.
Yeah,
It is
Tony,
the
it
best.
says Deli Mexicana outside of it. It
Right.
says Deli
Hey,
Yeah, it's all it
Mexicana
says.
outside
and
of
I
it,
promise you, hey, you want to talk about getting comped? Tony, you want to talk about getting comped?
Right.
Walk in there. Jonathan loves you.
Yeah.
The guy that owns it. Oh my
Oh,
God.
wait a minute.
Massive Grizzly
Tall
fan.
guy.
Jonathan, strong
Tall guy.
Jonathan.
He is
Yeah,
strong.
Like kind of swole like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Lost Tortugas.
I've been there.
It's
really,
unbelievable.
really
On
good.
point.
Yep.
All right, so I got been there.
All right, we got one. Las Tortugas. I got a shout out to my hometown, Oxford, Mississippi Snack Bar in Oxford.
Oh, yeah.
You know it?
No, we gotta
So it's
go
owned
down
by
there.
a guy named and run by a guy named Vish Bhatt. And Vish is from Gujarat in India.
Okay.
And he claims the South as deeply as you do and as deeply as I do. And he does things like okra chaat. So you like okra?
Yeah, I could do some okra.
Fried okra.
With some baked chicken or something.
So he does this thing that's fried okra tossed with peanuts, tossed with spices, and it's like an appetizer. And I know it sounds bonkers, but it's really, really good. Because it tastes like Indian, it tastes like the American South.
All right, so Oxford's about an hour from here.
It's an hour.
Oxford,
It's an hour.
Mississippi.
And
We
what's
need
the
to go
name
down
of
to
it?
an Ole Miss game. Snack bar.
Snack bar. Hey,
Snack bar.
Ole Miss game. Yeah, but we could do that.
You go down to an Ole Miss
All right,
game.
so now let's do the third. Like, pick a city somewhere in the South, and I'll just name the place.
Where would be?
Where do you want to go next?
We don't want to give Nashville a shout out, so where else would we get?
I was just there. There's a really good soul food place in Nashville, though.
Let's go Dallas.
Dallas.
Oh,
Dang, you're gonna. This is gonna be a bizarre answer. There's a Thai temple I like in Dallas. It sets up
Thai
a search.
temple.
In the back, there's a Thai food in the back of a temple in Dallas. That's not the right answer.
how
I
about?
don't know Dallas well
All
enough.
right. Give him another.
Give me Houston. I can do
Give him
Houston.
Houston.
Where else do we try?
You like
Hey,
steaks?
how about? Hey, no. This will be the great one. Do you have one that you love in Chicago? It's where he's from.
Oh man.
But that's
Have you ever-
dangerous.
So that would be.
That gets me in more
No,
trouble.
it would be super interesting though if you
No.
could name something that he knows.
I'm gonna answer it by saying the restaurant I've gone to most in Chicago in the last 5 years.
Okay.
It's a place called Big Jones. It's on the upper end of Chicago. It's like in Andersonville. It's not on the south side.
No.
I can play the limbs game and say like I love limbs, and I do love limbs.
Yeah.
But the place I've been to, this place called Big Jones, that I love.
Okay. All right.
What were you gonna say in terms of restaurant?
Mine?
You said you were
Yeah.
gonna give him a tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
All
get
right. Here or in Chicago?
Anywhere.
Here, you got one here. You said.
I do got one here. I already said it.
What?
Capitol Grill.
Oh, Capitol Grill. You love Capitol Grill.
I'm rolling with Capitol. Shout out to Capitol Grill.
They must be comping everything.
How much free food do you get from there?
It's a hustler. That's a Memphis thing. Hustle, John.
Hold on. No, but look, in Chicago, I like steak 48.
Steak 48.
You ever ate that? Mm-hmm. Y'all gotta check it out.
He's a steakhouse
it out.
guy.
Check it out.
He's a steakhouse
You ever
guy.
go to
Check it
Houston?
out. Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a new steakhouse run by my friend named Chris Shepard called Georgia James.
Oh, in Houston, Texas.
In Houston. Like, I've never seen more marble on a steak. I've never seen a fatter
wow.
steak.
Man.
All right.
He does these things called baller boards, and he lays out
yeah.
like 6 different steaks on a baller board, tops it with charcuterie. Bonkers.
So Oxford is like, you guys got mega food down there.
We do.
Right? Yes.
And I wouldn't. That'd have been hard.
John
for me to
Current's
realize.
got all those restaurants down there.
He's a partner with Vishbot in that restaurant I talked about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
snack
yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
So they got
It's good stuff.
They got amazing food. Where else drivable? Give us one more drivable. People always talk about driving down towards that Mississippi and like there's
Yeah.
all these like famous places.
There are.
Doe's.
Yep. Man, you took the words out of my mouth.
Is that true?
Doe's is
My
great.
buddy
I mean,
Chris
especially for
Harrington.
Tony because he
my
loves
buddy
steaks.
Chris Harrington.
My buddy Chris Harrington went a special trip down there.
I took.
And there's another place outside of Oxford that does like
Taylor
fried-
Grocery. Taylor
Is that
Grocery?
the fish place?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fried
yeah.
catfish?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Taylor Grocery.
Now, my friend Pete Wells is the restaurant critic for the New York Times now, but when he wasn't the New York Times restaurant critic, we took a Delta road trip. The only thing Pete wanted to do was get to Doe's.
How far is that from here?
3 hours.
3 hours.
Another one written down.
Hey, can we use your helicopter? Tony.
Oh yeah.
Hey, no, you know what we need to do is borrow Mark Gasol's Tesla so he can just program it.
And just
But
sit
nobody
in
has
the
to
car.
drive,
And
just sit in the
sit in the
car.
car, man.
Nobody has to drive.
Must
Be
be
great.
nice.
Thanks for coming by,
Thank you.
Yeah,
John.
much love, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
that.
It's going to do it for our show today. Thanks to Devin Walker. Thanks to Tony Allen. Thanks to John T. Edge. Thanks to